Moving into our next piece is our member management and the ideal chapter size. This is also going to be a new evaluation. And so what we're looking for here is for chapters to be at least 75% of their ideal chapter size. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go through how that's calculated here in just a second. Um, what we want from them is to maintain that accurate membership roster, report their membership changes as they know them, report pledging and initiation ceremonies as they have historically done, and within time, that's going to keep an eye on that. So what the CMP is doing is it's looking at the number of collegiates in good standing compared to what that ideal chapter size is. And so how we get to that ideal chapter size is we're looking at a variety of different factors. The primary piece is we're looking at business school enrollments. And so some business school enrollments are a lot more able for us to take a look at how detailed their enrollment numbers are. And so when we have that full detail, we can break down and create a pool based on full-time undergraduate, part-time undergraduate, full-time graduate, and part-time graduate. And you can see that percentage of that pool. That's what we anticipate our students would be pulling from in those individual categories. If we only can get the enrollments for graduate versus undergraduate, we do it a little bit more judiciously and take a couple of different things into consideration. And then if we only get a total business school enrollment, we are looking at about 10% of the business school. We do also factor in if they have an Alpha Kappa Psi chapter on campus. And so if we do see that, we assume that AK Psi is probably pulling 2% of our pool away from us as another interest organization. And so we do factor that in as well. Ultimately, we're looking for about 10% of that potential pool that is created from business school enrollments. We won't post anything that is greater than 150. We won't post anything that is less than 20 for an ideal chapter size. It's not because we don't believe a chapter can manage on either end of that spectrum. We have historically kind of put caps on both ends, and that's where we have adjusted to based on the last couple of years of information that we have. There is a couple of adjustments that are made to that. So if we are looking at a chapter size that we anticipate at the beginning of a fall term, based on how many people that may still be graduating during the summer, or we anticipate during the summer, we pull all that information. We don't want to, unless they're going to be over 150, we don't want to say, hey, chapter, get smaller, because they have shown that they can manage that. And so what we do is we say, hey, at least maintain your ideal chapter size and maybe grow another 5%. Depending on the chapter, I was looking at one the other day where they were starting the year with 136, and we said, hey, if you can do that and then add another seven, we assume you're going to do that anyway. And so that's what that looks like for there. If a chapter is looking at a fall size that is less than, or excuse me, if it's anticipated the fall chapter size is greater than 1/3 of their less than their chapter size, then we're looking for them to do their chapter size plus 35%. So we're looking for them to anticipate some growth there, and we also do that with their new member numbers, though those aren't factored into CMP at this point. Michaela, great question. Is there anything that accounts for a percentage of commuter versus residential students? Also transfer rates, especially schools that are branches of a university. Let me take that first part first. Right now, we are looking at what those commuter residential numbers look like. We have a couple of feelers out to organizations on how are they defining commuter versus residential, so we can have some consistency there across the board, as well as how does that impact their member models. So while it is not factored in currently, it is being worked on so that we can be consistent and fair and have a better understanding of that as well. Transfer rates don't tend to have the same impact because we uh, it's not as many students that transfer in bulk from one school to another. It's a couple of students here and there that are transferring to another school here or there. And so it does not have an impact on a major impact on the start number or the ideal chapter size. Great questions. And then we also want to make sure that you can assist your students and your teams with how to make roster updates in the new hub. Some of the pictures have changed since I left last week, so I have updated those. But similarly as we had in the old hub, they will go to the members section. They will look for a change roster button up in the top right hand corner. They will identify the type of change that they want to make, whether it is individuals have graduated, pardon me, individuals have graduated, they are studying abroad, they are on an internship, they are temporarily not enrolled, they are permanently not enrolled, or they have left the business school and no longer want to associate with the chapter. If we still have students, and I know that we still have some quarter schools that will start later this month, the beginning of next month, that individuals have transferred, that permanently not enrolled starts that ball rolling to going to affiliating with another chapter as they have transferred. And so if you've got people that have left that school, they have left that school permanently. And then the chapters just need to notify us and we can get them enrolled and affiliated with the chapter at their new school. If they're making the change, here's an update screen for some of you that may have seen previous programs. It looks a little bit different. So now we have, instead of the red toggle box, we now have a checkbox. So if it is somebody that you are making a change for, or excuse me, your students are making a change for that particular item, they will check that box and it is now on the right hand side of the picture and not on the left hand side of the picture. And the picture will then kind of blue out instead of gray out, so that you know that that individual has been selected. And then they'll go back up to the top of the screen and click on the proceed with changes. It does count the number of individuals that have been selected for this change. So if your students go in thinking, hey, I've got to make 12 individuals graduate, or mark them as having graduated, and they go up to the top and they see proceed with these 4 changes, then there is people that they have missed that they need to go back through and check. So there's a couple of checks and balances here for them to pay attention to, so that they are getting it right and not having to do it a couple of times because they missed somebody. They always can do extra. They always can do additional reporting, but trying to save them a little bit of work here as the system is looking at it for them. All right. Member retention is a new metric for us, or a new health indicator for us under CMP. Essentially, what we are looking at here is assuring that our chapters are and the fraternity are creating an experience for members to continue that they want to engage in, and that they're addressing issues that can have some behavior correction instead of simply expelling members. Again, this is a big piece to our continued growth strategy, and with our individual discipline policy, that we're truly looking at finding ways to work with the students. Our members are finding ways to work with our students. Are there absolute times that individuals are going to need to be expelled? 100%. There are things that happen that they do need to, but we want to want our students to explore different options for behavior correction before simply resolving to that expulsion. Please know that students that are on study abroad or on internship or any of those other types of status, graduate, they have all been considered retained. They are not factored into these calculations because they are still part of the chapter. They just happen to not be affiliated with the chapter right now. This is truly only looking at how many individuals had been expelled or had been approved for a voluntary withdrawal under this. And we do have processes now if we do need to expel individuals through the individual discipline process. I know our team has been, pardon me, communicating with chapters that had reached out to us, but that process is now available. And so for members that do need to report any type of resolution, whether it's an expulsion, suspension, probation, or not found responsible, they're going to start at that members tab like they would have in Old Hub. They are going to look for the individual that that they had that result for and click on that member details button. When they open up that member details button, it is going to, in that header, show a report a hearing result. And they will click on that, and from there they will move forward with the same pieces that they previously had under the old hub. Here it is also giving you kind of a step-by-step of where you are in the process of reporting so that they can make sure that they're getting all of those steps reported correctly. Okay, take a quick pause. Not seeing anybody unmuting. Not seeing additional things in the chat, so we'll continue to move forward. All right, another new eval is a recent alumni engagement. So we've had a handful of things under the old CMP that had to do with alumni. Here we are picking right from the fraternity strategic priorities of alumni engagement. And we want our chapters and the fraternity to be engaging, especially with those young alumni within the last 3 years. And so we are looking at strong health being similar to what the fraternity's strategic priority is of 50% of alumni within those first 3 years are engaged per the fraternity's definition. And everybody's now thinking, well, what's the fraternity's definition of engagement? And so ways the chapter can help out with that is there is going to be, as there was in Old Hub, a lost member form. So a lost member is, hey, we've gotten information that the contact information that we have for this alumni member is not correct. You chapter, if you happen to know what contact information is valid, can you please supply us with that so we can update our records? Other ways that chapters can help with that is having alumni members attend chapter events and reporting them on their event forms. Our teams go through and they make note of that so that they are accounted for in engagement. If alumni are attending national events, those are accounted for through their registration. And it can be as simple as creating a culture of, yes, Delta Sigma Pi sends out a lot of emails. We get that. But there's a lot of different information for everybody. And simply opening an email as a young alumni, looking at the information that we are providing for you, different opportunities that we have, that calculates and factors into the that young alumni or that early alumni engagement right off the bat. So if a chapter is cultivating a culture of everybody, please make sure that you are opening your Delta Sigma Pi emails. There is information there for you. Hopefully that will then continue as alumni as well. Let's see. Michaela's got a question for later. What are some recommendations for chapters to keep track of all of their event information while they wait for calendar event submissions to open? And will the submission questions be the same as old forms? I will hold on to that question for you, Michaela, at the end. So Jasmine, if you could please also be thinking, remember that for me as well. We'll hit that at the end. Okay. Recruitment and pledge education. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't type my question fast enough. About the recent alumni engagement, is it only a matter of engaging with alumni from their chapter specifically? Like I've got two chapters in the same city, and if they engage with alumni from either chapter, does that count for them, or like does it matter?
Great question. This is specifically looking at the alumni from their chapter. Hopefully, if they're in chapters within the same city. So I know Minneapolis being one, Philadelphia being another one, a major city, Chicago being a huge one. If hopefully that they're interacting with all of the chapters, and the alumni chapters um, are working with all of the collegiate chapters in the area. So we hope that it's going to be some ebb and flow there. But it is calculating specifically alumni from their chapter.
Okay, thanks.
Great question. Seth, I see you've got another question here. Are alumni chapter stuff open yet in the hub? I've got some DDs that are also alumni officers but can't switch between roles. I'm going to hold on to that at the end as well. So hang on to that.